Oh, hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for visiting once again. Back we are to the Voyager Deep Space Probe, and some bits and pieces that I've been playing about with. This is the second in the series for this particular Hasegawa 1/48 scale model kit. And if this is the first time you've come to visit, welcome. Thanks very much. And if you're a returning visitor who's subscribed and is looking at me for inspiration maybe, or for just because you're interested by these things, then I'm delighted to have you along. So there we go. So there are a couple of things we're going to do today, but mostly associated with photo etch. And those of you who've tuned in before will know that most of the time up until comparatively recently I haven't actually had a hard surface to use, but I've now acquired such a thing, and it's a part of a tile. I didn't use the whole tile. This is about, I suppose, slightly less than a quarter of one of them, but that's what colour the bathroom is on the tiling, so there we go. But this is a hard surface onto which one can cut the photo etch parts. So let's have a quick look at the instructions. Let's just move this out of the way just for a quick update on this. What I've done is I've discarded the kit part, which is a plastic piece like this. Let's zero in on this and show you. I did on another video, but I've put the photo etch part in. As you can see, it's much less monolithic than the other part, and I think looks rather better. But does the same thing essentially. So I'll be putting lots of components on, then painting, and then hopefully we'll get a good finish out of this. So we'll put that away now. The other thing to say, excuse me, is that much of this will probably be conducted from underneath the magnifying glass. Now, I've done this before and it should work reasonably well, and it gives you the chance to see what's going on down here. Whereas, for example, if I'm normally at this sort of length, focal length, which is what, I suppose it's a little more than sort of this distance here. It's about sort of that much more than this distance. The detail is sometimes lost, and I'd like you to see the detail. So we'll fetch this out and show you that. So that's what we'll be cutting from and onto, and we'll have at this. But let's take a little look at the instructions to begin with, and we've got to the point here of really sort of looking at beginning to look at step 4. So I will be putting some components on here. I'll be putting on where's my poker gone? There it is, which is also in fact a scriber. It's one of the two things I use for scribing, which one of the viewers from, I think, the video before last asked. This is it. It's just a little point, which I have a little nodule to put on the end with. So I'll be putting that in. And then what we'll do from there is, as you can see, this is all pretty much assembled. So we put that little grill in there, and then we'll move ourselves towards the photo etch instructions. So let's move those instructions away and move ourselves towards the photo etch instructions. So we'll put this large piece on there. We'll also put this square piece on, and that bar there, and this. And then if there's time, which I think there probably will be, we'll put these two pieces on as well. The golden record I'm not going to put on just yet, but I will put on later, and there's a good reason for that, which is that it would be hard to mask, and it's probably going to be easier to just super glue it in anyway, to be honest with you. So there we are, and that's in place of the plastic part, which again is a little monolithic, which is part of the gold parts, which I haven't excuse me, I haven't brought with me. So, or I haven't brought to the modelling table with me. So let's have at it. So that's the way up that we want this, and this is the component we want to take off, and it is it's part numbered 6, I think. So it should be fairly blooming obvious, really, which is this section here. So there's a number of fret sections that we need to clip out. Now I think if we get this right, we may not have any filing to do, and that's what I'm going to attempt to do here. and that's the wrong way up really for seeing the number, so part number 6 is just away to the left here. So what we'll do is we'll just drop that onto the I wonder if I can just zero in on this that way. That might perhaps be easier, mightn't it, rather than using, oh look at that, we can get right into it. There we go. So we can move this around and then we can start to see if I can, in fact actually yes, it's probably not the best way. I think what we'll do is we'll not do it that way. I'm going to do it under the magnifier because it allows me to be able to see the fret lines, and but you can also see what's going on as well. So that's the idea there. Now if I get the angle of this magnifier right, then you can see what's going on as well, and I can see what on earth's happening too. So let's get on with it, shall we? So that went very quickly and easily. Yeah, see, these are moving out really quite easily, and I want to give myself as little work to do as I can possibly get away with as I take these fret lines off. Now what I can do is a little test here to see if, no, that's not lifted away, the other one is. So I'll just come back to that one, see if we can, there we go, that's okay. So it's important to apply some pressure, but not too much. I'm just going to move some things that are off camera out of the way, and then I can carry on. Right, so here we go again. And there we go. That's not quite away. There we go. One of the interesting things that getting comments from the viewers brings up is that one of the viewers last time mentioned that something about the James Webb Space Telescope, which is otherwise known as JWST. Of course, you'll know about the James Webb Space Telescope. It's essentially the replacement for Hubble, and Hubble has done some amazing work in exploring the early universe. So of course, as you'll probably be aware, when you look out into the universe at night, you're looking at the stars, you're not seeing them as they are now, you're seeing them as they were sometimes many hundreds of thousands of years ago. So in some sense what you're doing is you're travelling back in time, and in order to extract detail from what you're seeing you have to collect a number of photons, and the problem with observing the universe from the surface of the planet Earth is you've got to get the photons that remain to you after having been gone through quite a lot of atmosphere. And some observatories, as you'll know, are up on high mountains where the air is very thin, and of course they therefore have less atmosphere to travel through. That makes it easier for the light to get there. But the James Webb telescope, or Webb telescope, is like the Hubble, away in space, but the Hubble is nearer to, shall we say, deep space, because it's adopted a position away from the planet, and is very cool indeed, and has a heat shield of some 44 meters in length, which guards the telescope, which is I think a radio telescope, excuse me, it's just a radio telescope. It guards it from being heated too much, which would affect, I think, its effectiveness. So I remarked that actually a James Webb telescope model at 1/48 scale would of course be rather larger than this thing, but I would quite enjoy to make such a thing if it could be made, if it could be fashioned, and it would represent some challenges, because it would be, I think, probably it would be about the length of my modelling table here on this little mat here, and about the width of it, but sort of diamond shaped, and maybe about this tall perhaps. But it'd be a fabulous looking piece of kit to build. I'm absolutely certain about that. And here, of course, is one of the advantages of having viewers and people tuning in, actually, giving comments. It gets you thinking, and I thought that kind of thinking was really jolly good. So anyway, let's return to this little piece of kit here now. Because we've used this hard surface, we've managed to get this off with no bending really at all. I mean, it's exquisitely delicate piece of etching there. I mean, as you can see, it's ever so thin. And our next challenge is to actually fit this onto the area that we want it onto now. I've given some thought to how one might achieve this, and hang on, let's do this on camera so you can actually see what it is I'm doing. So let's zero out. There we go. So I've given some thought to doing this, so I just brought the instructions on screen here, and just to make sure that I'm doing things right, and check twice and fit once, I suppose would be the answer there, wouldn't it? So you have to juggle it on. Now, probably the best bet in terms of build schedules would be to actually put this bit on before you've put these bits on. I would be absolutely willing to agree with you if you'd said to me, now look, Zinner's old boy, I think you got this the wrong way round. And I'd say, yeah, I think you're absolutely bloody right there, my old friend. So the difficulty now is actually going to be to sight this correctly, because it sights onto that rim up there. Let's see if we can just zero into this a little bit. So I think what I might do here is there are some fret marks on this, so I think I'm going to see if we can remove them. And I'm going to take my bloody life in my hands here, I think, to be honest with you. See if I can find out where they were. Oh, damn it. See, this is what happens. I've just bent that. So, as you can see, in faffing about with this, I've just bent it, so I need to contrive a way to get that nice and flat again. What can I use here? Can I use that, I wonder? Maybe I can press it with that and flatten it out with that after a fashion. There we go. Right, so I'm going to get the old magnifier out again and reach over the top nice and gently. I've isolated one of the fret marks I'd like to remove there. I'm going to see if I can remove it. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, that's better. That's better. There's another one there. See if we can. Oh no, hang on. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, they're so exquisitely tiny, these fret marks, these fret lines, that it's very difficult to see them. I think there is one just in there. Oh, you can't quite see that. So there's one in this corner here. That's in that area just there. Now, can I get in a little bit further on this for you to show you this? Yes, I can. I'm just moving my camera so that you can see what's going on here. I'd rather show you. Now, again, we've got to be very careful with this. There you go. Managed to get rid of that. What about that? So the system works, doesn't it? So here we go again. Let's just move this around. See if we can spot another fret mark. Again, move it around again and see if we can spot. I think there is one there, isn't there? Just very gently. It's very tiny. I think it probably wouldn't notice. Right, I've just spotted three. One here, and then one there. So what we'll do is I'll just move that round and we'll hold that just there and see if we can very gently move that away. As my old engineering colleague used to say in the old days when I mended microwaves for a living, when he wanted to get someone's attention, he said, "Eyes down looking." He was ex-Royal Navy, bless him, and he had all sorts of sayings like that. Used to make us all laugh. He was a decent bloke, good old Martin. So there we go. So I think oh no, I've spotted another one there. See that just there? Let's have another crack at that one then. Just see if we can just take that off. Just make it slightly less visible if we can. Yes, it's still kind of there, but oh no, there we go. There we are. So what we'll do is we'll we'll cough for a minute. Now, excuse me, I'll just zero out, there we go, and then we'll look to plonk that on there. So, right, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab a little bit of super glue onto one of these rims here. Let's just return the video camera to the right location. One day I'll show you how all this works so that you can see exactly what I have to do when I make a film. But we'll just run that over there. So we'll get some, we'll just use liquid glue, and what we'll do is we'll just move that away, out of the way somewhere, because we'd like to be quite careful with this bit, wouldn't we? So I'll leave it on its little cardboard surface and I'll put it up there out of the way because there's a flat surface up there. And have a quick look at my blade, which has it's an old gash blade, but it has quite a fine point to it, so it allows me to be able to dip my glue into the right area, as it were. So we can do this with some confidence because of course we do have debonder if we absolutely need to use it. And debonder doesn't attack the plastic, so what we can do is we can start to look at this. So I'm going to have to do this under the magnifier again, so let's pull the magnifier down again, shall we? And gives me the opportunity to see what on earth's going on here, and I can position this thing correctly and just get a little bit of glue onto that rim there. Just put that down there a minute, and then I can just use the tweezers to properly position this so that it sits down. Oh, I keep moving it in the wrong place. There we go. There we are. So we're on the way. Now we do have to be careful now, but it looks like if I just gently dab super glue in there and just press down at the corners, we may be able to just get ourselves around this without too much difficulty. There we go, and of course it's plastic to metal, which means that it seems to glue and adhere really remarkably quickly. Let's have a quick look, see where we are. That needs to be given a little dab under there. I'll do a little dab under there as well, and then what we'll do is we'll just push that down there. Dab a bit under there, see if we can make that just sit down. There you go, look, there we go. So it looks like we're going along okay at the moment. So we'll just dab under there, dab under there, and just drop that down there. You could even see that particular corner there picking up the glue as it went. There we go. Got some glue in the tweezers there for a minute. So same again, under there and all along there. May have learnt something here now, that actually what you can do is, oh yeah, look at that, that's much easier, isn't it? So what you can do is just, I've lost my place, I have lost my place. Just run this bead of super glue in there. So I think that up there a minute. What we'll do is just one more in here, I think along there and along there, and we'll be there. I think we've gone all the way round. Now you people who are watching will probably notice things that I don't notice because I'm in the midst of doing this, but now, I'm looking at this. This is slightly off center that way. Let's take this up. So this 9-sided arrangement here is slightly off center that way towards the bottom, but it's not huge, and I don't think it's going to be an enormous encumbrance, but it gives us a learning experience that actually it might be as well next time I do this, if there is a next time, is to start here and keep this above the top, and we can go the next step after that. So that's the one side there, that's done. So we need to get our fret out again. I'm going to dry that glue away and wipe that away and do good housekeeping as we go, eh? Put my glue blade away, put that away there. Guess what I didn't do? I didn't put that away in a safe place, because that's actually really quite important, that bit. So what we'll do is we'll just put that up there for now, and then we can look at this these other two sections here, and we'll need to turn this over now and orientate this in this fashion, and then we'll know that one part goes on this half and one part goes on that half. So that's the way it works. And part number 12 goes on that bit and part number 11 goes on that bit. So we need to get those those parts right. So part number 12 here is the top one of these two shaped Johnsons. So we can now start to attack part number 12. Again, we have to take some care here, and that's absolutely fine. So again, for your benefit, I'm going to be zeroing in on this, and then I shall be hopefully looking over the top in such a manner as I can see what I'm doing and not getting dazzled by the light. I would have said blinded by the light, but there's a song there somewhere, isn't there? So we're doing part number 12 now. So what I'm going to try to do is draw the blade up to the outside section, and here you are, you heard that go. Draw the blade up to the inside section, and that clicked as well. So there we go. Oh, that's not quite worked. Now Ron Calverley has a special thing he uses for photo etch, and it's a magnificent little tool. It looks like a sharpened screwdriver, but it's not a screwdriver, it's a blade, but it's flat straight across the bottom of the blade, and it's a really jolly good device for using for this kind of thing. Now I've just warned myself here that with these inner ones I'm going to have to be quite careful and not to apply, so I have to apply downward pressure. Let's just zero out, because this is probably worth knowing for people who don't do this, a bit like me. When you're cutting the fret lines out, it's important to create downward pressure onto the fret with no sideways pressure, because if you do place sideways pressure on this that way, what will happen is all of this delicate stuff will simply just fold up and bend. So it's exceedingly important to get that bit right, and I thought I'd just mention this because I just managed to stop myself from causing a problem for myself. Let's put it like that. So where are we? Now, I'll move that up a little bit, because otherwise it's going to be a problem for me getting in the way. Just move this further forward a tad. And where are we here? Is that done? That's not done. So downward pressure to remove the fret. Now sometimes you can hear the fret line fracturing as you press the blade down, but oft times you can't. Right, so here we go. So we're nearly there. Bit of patience, and actually no swearing at all today. What about that? Mother would be proud. So we're nearly there. Now you might have just heard that click as the blade went through the fret line. Right, let's see how we're doing there. It's not quite gone through, so I thought it had gone through and it hadn't. There we go. Here we are, look. So, right, we can move that away now and put that somewhere safe. And then what we can do, cough a little. She's getting better. And then we can zero in and take a look at this exquisitely delicate little piece as well. And there we go. Just looking for those little fret lines there, and I think we've got them. This is at 7 times magnification, which shows you exactly how tiny this thing is. There's some scale for you. That's a fingernail, so there we go. You can see how raddled it is. But so this was part 12, part number 12. So part number 12 will sit onto this section here. So again, we have to be a little bit careful. So I'm going to zero back out. I'm going to back out just a little bit, and we'll see how we go. And as you can see, that sits in there absolutely perfectly. And because we're learning our lessons as we go, then we can look at trying to excuse me, to glue these in as best we possibly can whilst leaving the holes visible, and so that needs to just go a little bit over that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call a halt to the proceedings, because I'm starting to cough a little bit more now, and say I'm going to finish off with that in a off camera whilst I splutter and go, and say thank you very much for watching this particular bit. Hope you enjoyed it. There's not much to have been done there, but you know, this I think at some stage is or at some level is interesting. I hope it is. Let me know whether you wanted to see this sort of thing, and then I can tailor the videos for people after that. But there we go. To each and every one of you, thanks for your time today, and do hope you join me on the next one, and I'll be very grateful to you if you do, and don't forget to leave some comments if you've got something to say. Always happy to hear from you. Okay, everybody, thanks very much indeed. Take care for now. Bye bye.